What's up, people of the world? It's your boy, Pat Hilton. I am here with Matt Tack, bringing you some business attack, some relationship attack, all the way around the 360 success life that we live. And Matt's going to break down some business today because he's taken his business to the next level online. Have you ever made a video online, Matt?
Dude, I've gone Facebook Live. I've done a few things, but I don't think I've ever made a video. A video podcast. This is pretty exciting stuff, Pat.
And I'm here to drive you into the digital realm with your message, and that's what I love to do. So we talked about a couple different topics that we want to review because I think it's important. And so, Matt, why don't we talk about the fact that we met at the Tim Bratz Commercial Empire event? I was the MC and the host. I was singing live music in the hallway. And we're both fathers. We're both husbands. We're both business people. And we became friends and started talking about what our 90-day goals are for this year. And Matt's got some incredible goals. And one of them is to start projecting his message onto the internet more and get more into the digital realm with his message. And I think that's so awesome that we kind of started talking about how we can do that for you. And so why don't you show the people of the world what you showed me for your 90-day goals, because it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, man. Before we start out on that, the one thing I always focus on in everything I do is my why, and the intentions of why I do things. I think that's most important in my life. I have my spiritual goals, so how am I going to align those? As far as what 90-day looks like to me, there's got to be a purpose. There's got to be a driver. What gets me out of bed every morning? God is a huge impact in my life, and just as far as a spiritual figure, I put that as the utmost importance. Then I have my wife. I have an amazing wife that supports me along the way in pretty much all my endeavors. So that's actually another thing that how we can incorporate and take our relationship to the next level. We started doing the next things. We had a 90-day plan that we built out. I can show that. And then I have my business. My business comes honestly third. I always make sure that my goal this year is to be more and more present. I definitely last year focused on business. I always still knew my why, but it was a lot of business. And then trying to come back home a little bit as far as what you said. I met you. You are absolutely relentless. You said I needed to create a digital presence, and I definitely believe you that is the case. So last year I just really kind of focused on the self-development, the business piece, but man, has that paid dividends for my why, my purpose in life, and that's to most importantly give back for as far as what God has given me, and then ultimately take care of my wife, most importantly, and then my offspring second, which is very important. I got a 3.5-year-old, I got a 2-year-old, and I got a 3-month-old. That kept me pretty active. All girls, 4 women in the house. So I'm blessed beyond measure, man. Love life, but yeah, we have some strong 90-day goals. We have strong annual goals. We got a big 2020 vision plan. Big for me, as far as kind of some of the businesses that we're getting off the ground. Started up in the actually vacation rental company. So I actually started that about 4 years ago. We scaled that up. Not a very big company, $400,000 or $500,000, but we in gross revenue. But then over the last year and a half, really focused on commercial real estate, and found a real passion in that, which then led me to, like you had mentioned, Tim Bratz. And Tim, man, what an educator, unbelievable educator.
And what a down-to-earth guy for having done the things that he's done. I mean, he's just incredible.
Dude, it's pretty amazing, man. He has that giver's mentality. Gives you everything when you go to his conferences. So I actually flew up to Cleveland. Was part of one of his early in his conferences. They were just getting off the ground, and had an amazing experience there. Got educated, and then actually went to a few other of his conferences. But last year alone, man, just was investing in education, and just got so much out of it, which has really led me to kind of where I'm at today, starting Cadence Capital Ventures, and Traction Real Estate Investments. So we have a wholesaling firm, both residentially and commercially. That's Traction Real Estate Investments, and Cadence Capital Ventures specifically focuses on value add commercial multifamily, repositioning, and then the development of both new and repositioning self storage units. So we've done a few of those, but mainly right now our focus over the next 2020 is to increase our door count and equity positions in multifamily value add.
I love it. So why don't you explain to people what that means?
Yeah,
Because our real estate friends get that. But
yeah,
as we've noticed, there are a lot of people getting into the real estate space that are going to be successful, that could potentially be people that you partner with in the future. And how can you bring them along for the ride? Well, a great way to do that is to kind of teach them along the way of all these things that you've learned from these high level people. So maybe break that down a little bit.
absolutely. Thanks for asking that, Pat. I love the education. I love giving as much content as possible. So yeah, it was a super exciting endeavor. Been really educating myself on commercial and then commercial multifamily for the past about year and a half. And then last year, just the really accelerator, right? Took down about 100 doors. Then also picked up another commercial strip. But mainly what that means is, man, is really looking for distressed assets. I love Tim's model. Tim actually looks in 80 locations, distressed assets, identifying the owners that are motivated to sell, or it's a situation where, they're backed into a corner, a lot of deferred maintenance. So that's mainly what we're looking for. Is we're looking for distressed assets, specifically multifamily, but I'll look at we're looking at actually a 400 door self storage unit today, and we're going to be actually submitting an LOI on that within the next week. But we're looking for just stuff that has deferred maintenance, or maybe not even deferred maintenance, but it has just is old, isn't updated, and that can be brought to new modern conditions, where there's some float in the rental rates. And what I mean by float in the rental rates is where, maybe it's under market rent at, somebody, let's say a market's at $500 a door on average. And we see that if we put a little bit of money into it, or potentially a lot of money into it, that we can increase the rental rates to maybe $750. So that
Wow.
spread per door is really what we see as the diamonds, right? Now that would be a home run if you can increase the rent rates a couple $100, man. That's a home run. I guess depending on how much you had to put into it. I am in one of those scenarios right now. We have a couple deals that that are pretty exciting. That are between about $100 and $150 a door in market rate rent. So we're actually creating that lift, is what they call it. So anytime you can create lift and maximize your rent potentials, or your gross potential rent, is when you can maximize your net operating income.
I
Net
love it.
operating income is the holy grail of really any business. It's all about cash flow, right? And that's what we've seen. It's just like it's an awesome industry to be in. Love commercial multifamily, but commercial across the board. But yeah, we're looking at value add is just when you can come in and force the equity. It's forced appreciation, where you're coming in, modernizing an asset, being able to increase rental rates to create a larger bottom line.
And that's amazing. It's beautiful. And one thing I took away from Tim's event was you hear a lot of the location, 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 and he stresses finding properties that are at wholesale prices first. Correct?
Wholesale or below wholesale?
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So Break that
Yeah.
down a little bit, because I think that kind of goes hand in hand with what you said of, if I can find something at the right price, I can raise the value of that, raise the rent to that, and increase my operating income, correct?
Absolutely. And, as we get into this series with this podcast, there's going to be more and more content that's going to be put out. And we can go more into like the visual realm of how all that works and how the numbers break out. Maybe we'll even underwrite a deal. But as far as buying things wholesale or under wholesale, the way Tim explains it, honestly, it's third grade level. It's amazing type stuff. But you just want to make sure you have what market rents are currently, and that you're buying at about 65% or south of that, minus any of your construction costs. So you'll have what they call a CapEx budget, which is a capital expenditure budget. Um, that you'll mainly have per door. Then you need to add in a little bit of fluff in case you need to put on a roof, windows, or various things. But so your CapEx budget might increase. That CapEx budget, in his eyes, is what's going to be reduced after you figure out where you're at 65%. So and it's similar to the residential form. If you're doing a flip, you're going to want to know your after repair value being for that at 65% minus any of your construction cost. Those deals are, really hard to come by nowadays, right? Well, you're seeing the same thing happen in the commercial realm, where cap rates are going up, and getting in at 65% is tough. But at the same time, the people that are stretching themselves and overreaching to get a deal, those are the people that you're going to find in the next couple of years when maybe there's a slight market correction. Those are the people that are going to be struggling, right? You can get good interest rates right now, but when you stretch and you don't keep your parameters in place, that's when you lose on the deal. One thing, and I think Lee Carney said this that really hit home, but and I believe he was on your podcast. You spoke with him.
Yeah, he
Awesome.
was. He's great.
Kudos to him, CEO of Real Advisors, an amazing guy and an awesome operator. That he said, you don't make money when you sell it. You make money when you buy the asset. So you always need to remember that. You always make your money when you buy it. You never make your money when you sell it. So make sure you buy right. Tim does a really good job at keeping things super tight.
And that was something I took away from his event was, you got to, location's great, but what the pricing is a factor too. And you need to make sure that those things go hand in hand. I remember that specifically because I've seen other people say location, 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 that gets drived into your head, and that's great. But if the price ain't right, then you can't flow it.
That's right, man. I love that. If the price ain't right, you can't flow it. That's right. But yeah, absolutely. That's you definitely just want to make sure you're buying right. And if you don't, man, you might get caught with your pants down.
And we don't want that. We want to keep our pants on, especially on this show. So 90-day goals. Do you want to pull up your spreadsheet and show the people, or do you want to save that? Give them a little taste of it real quick.
I'm a little nerdy sometimes when it comes.
Give them a little taste of it, because this is what I have to do with media too. So like with you, I have Matt Tack as a client, and I have the show, but then I have everything that I need to break out of each week for the whole year, because I want to make sure that the content follows a certain plan so that people are getting an equal distribution each week of what we talked about, so that they can go back and watch the full episodes. And it's kind of like what you just showed me with your plan as well.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's I was just trying to think, so like kind of backtracking a little bit, and I was just trying to think of ways like how the human mind works, right? Why do people get into a new year, get cast a 2020 vision, and then get 2 to 3 weeks into a new year? I think they expect about 80% or 80 or 90%. I think as high as 90% for people to fail by the beginning of February. About like 60% get 2 weeks into January and they're done. So these statistics is like, how does this happen? Like what goes through somebody's mind to not do things? And there's a couple things that I've learned over the past year that have been pretty amazing, that have kind of aided me and assisted me in certain capacities. One of them's habit stacking. So I think that was another Lee Carney term. It was crazy. It was just like a quick thing he said, but kind of stuck with me. And I'm like, how can I do multiple things in a given morning that I can take care of right away, that I can consider small successes or small goals, right? So one of my goals, like in for 2020, was to cast a vision, right? So I just casted a vision. I put it in my planner, where I can write things down, and I put everything in here, right? So every morning I get up, I'm a Miracle Morning guy. I've done. I'm actually going through the book the first time right now, but I've always been kind of that. I wake up high energy, love mornings. I think mornings are great.
Yeah, I'm
So,
always fired up when I call you in the morning too.
dude, you're always fired up. You are always fired up. It doesn't matter what time it is. Uh, Patty Hilton's always fired up from the acoustic force. Um, but the for me, the mornings are just, how can I get so much in and maximize so much value in my mornings, where it can just like profoundly impact the rest of my day. um, so one thing I do is create, like, I have that vision, right? I have a word of the year. I have my vision. I told you the why I do things. My wife and I actually have a vision for our family. So we built out a vision for our family. We have a mission statement for our family. We have core values for our family.
I
Um,
love it.
and I can share that stuff too. It's amazing stuff. So my word of the year is actually vulnerability. I think it's such a key word, to be vulnerable to people, to be vulnerable. I think vulnerability kind of equals transparency. I love being transparent with people. I love people in general. I love relationships. I think that's what life's about. It's just an amazing tool. It's an amazing life we get to live. And I just love the relationships across the board. Getting to know Bat has been amazing. Dude blows me up, though. I'm telling you, man. You need a sales guy, acoustic force media. It's amazing. The dude is he's a relentless. That should be his word of the year, relentless,
Relentless.
because he's absolutely relentless. But so our vision for my family is to be a unified family, cultivating authentic relationships and living an active, purpose-driven life. Read that every morning. It just kind of, it puts reality back into play as far as why I'm on this earth, what I'm here for, and it's to serve a greater purpose. Um, our mission statement: love, serve, forgive each other daily, no matter the cost. Starts at home, right? There was a couple years back, this was like a profound impact in my life. There was a guy I was golfing with, and they were talking actually about another guy, and they said, dude, if you want this guy's golf game to go down like south fast, like super fast, mention something about his wife, or just mention his wife's name, so he'll go irate. I'm like, the dude hates his wife that much. And so I'm like, dude, what an awful life that would be if, like, dude, you love golf so much, but like then when you come home, it sucked. And dude, I love coming home every day. Like, I get to come home to the most amazing wife and kids that absolutely drive me crazy, but it's amazing. It's an amazing crazy, right? So it starts at home. Love being home, and that's kind of the purpose, and that's why I walk through these every morning. I read these out loud, actually. These are kind of part of the affirmation process of me mentally preparing myself for the rest of the day. O'Neill Tack core values: the love people relentlessly, give thanks in all circumstances, be honest, transparent in everything, give generously of time, money, and resources, and choose to be happy every day. So those are our family core values. That's something we adopted after reading the book Traction. Once again, Traction is soul business, the entrepreneur's operating system. Gino Wickman, amazing guy out in Detroit, born and raised in Detroit. That is I wanted to pivot everything back home before I could build success in my business. And so that's what I did. I pivoted everything back home.
That's
uh,
awesome, man.
and then dude, I dive in, right? So I'll do like some Bible scripture in the morning, do some like prayer time, maybe a little meditation, breathing exercises. And then what I'll do is I'll dive into my calendar, man. And so that's a 90-day vision for me. And I have to renew that every 90 days. But going back to my kind of the nerdy aspect I was talking about, as far as how I was going to maintain that, right? Um, and I realized why people like struggle with not being able to maintain something is because after the first week they beat themselves up. Man, I didn't do it. Like I only did it twice this week, or I only did it once, or I didn't even get to go. I didn't get to go to the gym, and I'm trying to lose 20 pounds. It's not for me. It's not going to happen to me.
Instead of
So
focusing on the progress that they actually made. I do that sometimes too, because I look so far down the line instead of looking at the fact that I am taking the action daily,
absolutely.
and I can get lost, and that can be a mistake that we make.
John Maxwell put it. John Maxwell, amazing speaker, probably one of the best minds of the 21st century, in my
Oh
opinion.
yeah.
But he said, and he probably didn't cue this, but he said, progress, not perfection. And I think we all strive to think, oh, we're going to be perfect. We're going to be perfect. We're going to be perfect. It's just not the case. You know what I mean? Being perfect is not going to be, isn't it? Jesus himself was perfect, but we aren't going to be perfect, So it's all about like, how can we mentally think, I'm kind of a big brain guy, and information in, information out, and
Right.
how you actually retain that information. Another John Maxwell quote is sustained thinking always beats smart thinking. And how do we sustain that type of thinking, where, hey, if I don't get it next week, I can get it the following week after that. How do you recapture that? So I'll go in. I know I was expanding on that quite a bit, but
I like it.
in this spreadsheet that I created, I wanted to do things for me personally. So one of the things for me personally was to read 3 times a week, right? And it doesn't have to be a ton. I honestly want to get through 3 books a week if I can. I tend to do. I got this again from John Maxwell, but I tend to do the abbreviated version, or identifying what's the most important things in a book that I need to see. So it's a lot of scrubbing. A lot of high level CEOs do that. How do you retain as much information as possible with a limited amount of time you have? So anyways, I broke it down in a 52-week period. The 52-week period tracks against everything week by week. So every Friday I'll evaluate myself in a reflection period if I hit that targeted goal. So we started January, and this is the first week. I'm actually going to be evaluating today. This is actually technically the first week of January. Did I read 3 times this week? I did. Did I listen to 3 podcasts? I did. Now, what it does, it triggers a score. So my score is 6 points. I conditionally formatted this with some Visual Basic code that allows me to say, I gotta be in the green. Like, I mean, that's my goal, is to at least be in the green. Hit 2 out of 3. All you need to be is 33%. But my main goal is to hit 9 points. 9 points is where I truly want to be. And that's the measurable, right? So the measurable is where I gotta hit 9 points every week. But if I don't, it's not the end of the world, because I'm refreshing every week. Now, do you want to hit majority 6 and 9s and very little 3s? Yes. But let's say January week 2, I only read 3 times a week, and I messed up on the others. Well, then I only get 3 points for that week, and it didn't conditionally format to where I wanted it. The week following, I got 6 points. I got 9 points. So I'm able to track every week where I'm at, where I'm progressing. And I want to see a lot of reds and greens up here. And if I know that I'm tracking against about that 80% rule, where I'm getting in about 80% of the reds and greens, I know that I'm tracking good. I'm making progression week over week, and it's progression again, not perfection. So this is just utilized as a tool. I break mine into healthy living, business, finance, relationships into business. But this is just a tool where you can quickly put in don't inundate yourself with like some crazy goals that are 15 across the board that it's going to take you an hour to check off your list. But if you can just put down 3 or 4 in any highlighted, I mine obviously healthy living, business, finance, relationships, and then business overall as far as what I'm tracking against. And then do this. And I'm happy to, if somebody wants to reach out to me, I'm happy to share share a spreadsheet with them, and the code's already in there so that they can actually track with it. But there always needs to be a time of reflection. John Maxwell does a daily 5-minute reflection. I do a weekly reflection. I do want to get to kind of the daily approach as far as how I'm retaining information. Again, sustained thinking always beats smart thinking. So it's that's just one way I'm tracking myself. It's always good to have a scorecard to be tracking against your measurables and where you're at.
There's no participation trophies in business.
There's no participation trophies there.
Or in real life, folks.
Or in real life. That's true, man. So yeah, it's a cool thing that I think can honestly help anyone out. And it just gives a good visual. But you still have to be disciplined to get in there, because it's a spreadsheet, right? You got to go back to your computer and dial in. But I always do calendars, check off boards. All that stuff is extremely important. You see the calendar behind me. I got a calendar right here that I'm always putting stuff in, writing notes in, just kind of a black book. Those are all necessary and important, man.
I absolutely love it, man. I absolutely love it. And I'm so glad that we're taking time to do this, because I grow so much from helping people operate from a digital standpoint, because running a business takes a lot of time, man.
Yeah.
And unless you have, like we talk about nerdy, unless you have a nerdy friend that sat around and played guitar and made videos and learned all the frame rates and all this kind of stuff, it can be really taxing to try and go back and learn how to take clips and make podcasts and upload and YouTube and Instagram and LinkedIn. And so that's something that I'm really going 100% on this year, and actually showing up on the shows and being a part of the growth of the show, because I think that's important too. I think that being a part of the tag team is what makes it great, instead of just saying, hey, just record it and send it to me. I don't think that that's fair. I need to be a part of the movement, and I want to be a part of the movement. And that's why I select certain people to work with. And I've selected certain people that I want to grow with long term. And I'm super pumped about it, man. And I know that throughout the time that you see growth, that I'm going to see growth as well. And I can't wait to share this message and, share this mission and with everybody online, because I think people are going to get a lot of value from it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome, man. Well, if you could give people one more piece of advice from your world on where you're going into the next week, and where we're going to be next week with the video, what would you give people? Where are you going to be at next week that's different from today?
Yeah, man. That's a great question. Where am I going to be at? Is I gotta go back to my metrics and what I'm doing as far as a goal. I think what I missed on was the 90-day goal. Is that what you asked? You wanted to see like kind of our 90-day goal, but you're saying a week?
Well, yeah, but you still went over the spreadsheet of, here's where I'm going, here's this. And I mean, we talked about like NOIs and LOIs or all of that kind of stuff. But I think the cool thing about the visual, and that's all recorded here too, so people can watch that on the YouTube version, is, success is tracked, and success is on purpose. Like you said, progress is on purpose. Yeah. So there is a reason why there's going to be a difference in your results next week compared to the person that didn't write a plan, didn't have a blueprint, didn't go on attack, and didn't have, a tactical strategy behind what they're doing this year. And I think that's part of the reason why people give up quickly, and people start, even with shows like this, we have a long-term plan for where we want to go with this. I think
Yeah.
people are like, oh, I did a couple episodes and, I'm not famous.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, of course not, dude. Journey didn't write 3 songs and magically become the best band on the planet, like in
Yeah.
their era, or the biggest karaoke song of all time didn't come after 3 tries. Okay, it takes a lot of work, and that's with anything. So I think it's really cool how structured you are, how detailed you are.
Mhm.
I think that the spiritual relationship with the family and at home is incredible, and that's part of the reason why I'm so excited for us to move forward together on our journeys and kind of be alongside each other, is because different strengths and different talents
Mhm.
are necessary for a team to win.
Absolutely.
And so it's a beautiful thing, man. So
Yeah.
I know next week for me, I've got certain goals in place that I want to be reaching. And so that's why I was like, where do you think you're going to be next week compared to this week? I mean, next
Yeah.
week's episodes, you're going to be at a different part of your spreadsheet. Like,
Very, very different part of it. Hopefully checking off, hopefully a lot healthier, maybe a little buffer. I got a workout goal.
there you go.
But yeah, man, I got some good 90-day goals. Now and my mind works in 90 days. I just break it down into week in smaller increments to track against the 90 days. So that's kind of that's why I built out the spreadsheet to really give a granular tracker. Now I do have some higher level that you just can't track weekly, and you're tracking in those 90 days. For instance, we're under contract to actually sell an asset in Granville, Michigan right now. So that's going to look very different in the next 60 days. We have an anticipated closing date of February 27th. Now in the next 2 weeks, we need to submit at least 20 LOIs on various activities, off market deals, on market deals. We're just going to be submitting. We just got to get a lot of activity out there. LOIs being letter of contents. So we're tracking against that as far as like business activity. It's all about casting a wide net and,
Right.
seeing if
Right.
you funnel in the deals. We're creating our sales funnel right now.
Right.
So we're casting out letter of intents to see if we can get some active interest. Our focus right now is in the southeastern United States, trying to take down apartment complex. Our annual goal is 500 doors, where we want to own a large portion of the equity and some value add, getting in some solid deals. So that's our annual goal by this quarter. We're scaling that up. Obviously, in the latter portion, we're probably going to be putting in a bulk of the doors. In the first quarter, we're only looking at about 20 doors. We only put about 20 to 25 doors in there. We have a couple. The reason why I put a little bit lower, because I knew we're repositioning 2 assets right now, and we're doing a couple capital raises. So you also have to realize where you're at, right? Where are you at in this game? Like, I'm setting a 2020 vision. Yeah, do I want 5,000 doors in the next 5 years? I'm not going to tackle it all in one quarter. So how do I put it in bite-sized pieces? And I know that we're repositioning 2 assets. We're raising about $1 million in capital on those 2 assets. We have a 41 unit and a 54 unit. Those being commercial multifamily. So when I say units, they're doors. People live under those doors. It's roofs for people.
Right. Right.
So we're raising capital for those. And I know that raising capital for those takes up a little of my time, right? That eats into time as far as going out there. We have our acquisition guys sending out some stuff, but we really are taking out in bite-sized pieces on how we're taking things down and making sure we're actively pursuing the right deals. So we definitely plan to expand that Q3, Q4, Q4. But as far as Q1, we're really kind of focusing and honing in on the 2 repositions that we started last quarter and that are going into this quarter. So what's the next 10 days look a lot different. We've already had so much progress in the last 30 days. We had, when Tim says it's a science to reposition and get tenants out, put new tenants in, man, it's definitely a science. So we're doing that right now. We're obviously not renewing leases, going through some evictions too, and getting new tenants in there. We have I have weekly calls, and then I've increased that load to Tuesdays and Fridays to make sure that we're on pace and we're tracking for our really accelerator as far as the manual labor reposition, right? Where you're coming in, you're doing that forced depreciation, the equity, we're putting roofs on. We have about a $7,500 capex budget for each door. So we're really doing some cool stuff in a gentrifying area that's really cool in the city of Jackson, Michigan. I'm originally from southeastern Michigan, so it's we invest in southern Michigan across the board, both east and west. And but our main focus this year, like I said, is going to be on in Florida. We have some smaller multifamilies in Florida right now, selling off a few of those, but we plan on increasing our load and really kind of focus on 20 doors and up in the southeastern region, specifically the I-4 corridor. And then if we want to narrow it down, really for the next quarter, we're looking for things in Tampa, 20 doors and up. But it's dude, this quarter is going to be aggressive. It's going to be fun. We're hitting 2020 off with a bang. Already got 2 things under contract right now that are expected to close at the end of the month. We're bringing one to market at the January 20th. So got a lot of things going on, a lot of moving pieces. And we're doing some big things, man, doing some real big things.
I love it. And I want to go back to a little bit because it's like we talked about those daily things that we do every day as far as either production or real estate or habit stacking or all of these things. It can be hard to track just 1 week of progress because we're going so hard in each moment of our life that sometimes the results don't show up until 9 months later or until 9 years later. Sometimes, I mean, there's people I know who put 15 years into building businesses and made $40 a day in sales, their first week, and that are, driving around in cars that they only make 40 of.
Yeah.
So this stuff takes time. And I think that it's important to be aggressive short term because that's what's going to produce those long-term results. And that's why I said 1 week, because it's almost hard to track what in 1 week. I work out like every day, and it's the small tweaks that are going to make my body change. It's not just going to happen in a week.
Yeah,
and so I love that you ran with that, and you're like, dude, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. But it's those small daily habits that are going to produce those long-term results, doing those things every day, staying true to the core values and to the core mission and to the family, and success in all these different areas are what's going to produce that highlight reel effect 12 months down the line.
1000%. I think you had made a post probably about a month back, but dude, Usain Bolt didn't become the fastest man in the world by showing up at the track meet and running a blazing fast 100. He actually ran a lot before that and had small daily habits where he's waking up. Michael Jordan didn't actually. Michael Jordan, it's probably a bad. Good example. Greatest basketball player probably of all time. I don't know. Maybe. LeBron James.
I think that but those guys put a lot of work in the background that they don't get any credit for. Is what
I think
saying.
A better example, just because of if you're talking about giftedness, right? Michael Jordan was extremely gifted, jumped out of a gym. LeBron James is extremely gifted. But then you take a guy like Steph Curry, right? Average Joe, he's like 6'2", 6'3". Realize he had a pro as a dad, but he's not very tall, super skinny. And not like he's honestly not the fastest dude in the world, but dude, he's got a jump shot for days. Well, how do you get that jump shot? Took a jump shot, probably shot 100 times every year. There's Aubrey Huff, right? I was listening to a podcast with Ed Milet, and he brought him on the show. This guy, his dad got shot when he was like 3 years old.
Oh wow!
And or maybe I think he was 6 years old because he actually remembered his mom coming home. His mom worked at Winn-Dixie. She was a grocery store clerk. Didn't make a ton of money, man. Lived in a trailer park growing up. Just nothing wrong with that, but like the cards weren't stacked in his favor. And one day his mom came home with 2 tickets or 3 tickets for him and his sister to go to the Texas Rangers game. She got it from Winn-Dixie. They go to the game, and at that moment, he's like, I'm going to become a professional baseball player. He told himself that. That was a visual. I'm going to become a professional baseball player. Goes home and made the commitment that he was going to swing 100 times every day, no matter the cost, until he made it to the major leagues. He swang and swang and swang and swang. His mom saw him out there, and his mom's like, you know what? I'm gonna scrape every dime I can to get this kid a batting cage. Because saw how hard he was working. His grandparents actually pitched in a little bit, got him a batting cage. Now he starts really swinging. 200 today. Why just 100? 200 a day, 200 a day. Aubrey Huff, when he ended his career, hit about 230 home runs, won two world championships with the San Francisco Giants. Played on a bunch of different teams, but man, he got to play in the major leagues. What he visualized from the time he was 6 years old. Visuals are so powerful.
I agree.
And when you put that in your head, and then add the small habits to it of every day taking your jump shot, I put, in the business world, what does that look like too? People always give the analogy of sports, but in the business world, what does that look like? It's getting up and filling out your calendar every morning. It's getting up and making sure you're going to the gym 3 times a week so you can be sharp in the mind and you can be sharp in the body. And going back to going to the New Year's goals and New Year's resolutions, people shouldn't put a weight as far as a physical weight on themselves. What they should do is those small habits of getting to the gym. I'm going to get to the gym 10 minutes today. Minutes. Put minutes associated to. I'm going to get to the gym 20 minutes. I'm going to take my breath away today, because that's when you start achieving those results. Not all the time are you going to lose weight. It's like you're gonna go to the gym, come home to get on the weight scale. Like, damn, I didn't lose money today. I didn't lose weight today. Go back to the gym the next day. Come back. Man, I still didn't lose weight today. What the heck's going on? You expect immediate results. This is just not going to happen.
Right.
Now, 9 months down the road, and every day you're dedicating 10, 15, 20 minutes, but you're taking your breath away every time you go to the gym, guaranteed 9 months down the road, you do that every day, even for 10 minutes, you're going to lose weight. Dude, that's the thing, man. It's all about the habit stacking and creating those habits early on that are gonna really generate that level of success.
I love it, man. I love it. And so sending people off, part of Matt's 2020 vision was to do more online content. And being a content creator myself, for a long time, I just made funny songs and skits and stuff like that. And this year I'm going full on working with business owners and working with people on increasing my capacity to be a producer and a speaker and an MC, rather than just being an entertainer. And part of that process is really growing with a small selected group of people and over delivering as much as I possibly can on their media so that they see results on their end, because I know that those results are what got me in touch with them in the first place. Like with you, like me being an MC at that event with Tim Bratz, like that's one of the first MC gigs I've ever done. Like usually when you play guitar and stuff, you're kind of the MC and the speaker and the host and the party host, but that's a whole lot different than hosting a business event. And so, these transitions are what we got to do, and we got to start today, and we got to look deep and take the action and fill in that gray area that's going to get us that results 12 months down the road. So, man, awesome coming on. I really loved it today. I'm really looking forward to doing this every week. And, man, get out there and kill those goals.
I appreciate that, man. Hey, dude, ask me like how you can contact me. How can people get in touch with me?
Well, how can they get in touch with you?
No, you like edit this portion out, but like
No,
ask.
we're leaving it.
Huh?
Tell the people how they can get a hold of you. Let them know.
Huh?
Let them know how they can get a hold of you, Matt.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, no, if social media is the best content when you can reach out. If you want to get me at Instagram at MWTack, or my Facebook handle too, same thing at MWTack. You can find me. Matthew Tack is my full name. Cadence Capital Ventures is my commercial company, and then Traction Real Estate Investments is our wholesaling piece and wholesaling leg. So yeah, man, it was a pleasure. One quick
Absolutely.
plug: my company, both of my companies have partnered up with a nonprofit. I think it's just massive to look for ways to give back. And this year, we've set a goal to really partner up and dedicate a decent portion, actually, of our profits to the Maria Leah Foundation. If you want any more information about the Maria Lita, or even you just want to touch base and talk about how your companies can give back and partner up with other nonprofits, doesn't have to be the Maria Lita. That's the one that I chose. Hits home with me. But if you want any other organization, I think it's always good to have the mentality, hey, I'm growing vertically, but I also want to give any prosperity that I receive, I want to give back to others that could use it as well. So the Maria Foundation for us, it's a nonprofit based out of the States that has an economic impact with the city of Alasi, Ecuador. Love the organization, and it's very cool. So always encourage any of those business owners that really truly want to give back and partner up on a consistent basis, right? It's all about consistency. Check me out, send me a DM on Instagram. I would love to talk to you a little bit more about that. It's just a great avenue to take as far as having that giver's mentality.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, we will see you guys soon. Make sure to subscribe on all the different platforms that we will be on, and we'll see you next time.